Okay. Let's get it started. What's up, everyone? How is going? Welcome builders. Welcome DevRels. Some noise. How many DevRels do we have in the room? So we know, I think, okay, committed people are here, excited that you guys made it this morning. It's not very easy, but I mean, it's also like 11:30. Okay, let's get it started. I think everybody know me. This is a funny picture back in Denver, and I was really kind of like a cool time. But yeah, I'm leading developer relation at a company called Consensus, in the umbrella company for different products. MetaMask is the well-known one, and lately I'm also like working on zkVM Linea specific. So I know I don't have a lot of time. I just also want to make sure I have bunch of kind of like, I did bunch of kind of like, how would you say, like fuck up in my kind of like career. I have a lot of lessons learned, and this is why I'm here. I want to kind of like share those lessons learned, share those framework. And today we're actually speaking something I'm very passionate about, DevX, DevRel, how we can actually like scale developer community to the next level. For anybody that doesn't know me, I've been working around the DevRel framework for a long time. And I will kind of like work through quickly to some of those framework, and then I also like build a third one that is actually super interesting that I will share. But one thing that stood out is that when I was building this talk was, okay, agentic economies are coming. How DevRels can enhance workflows. And this is for DevRel specific, but it's also for people that want to enhance their kind of like, content pipeline. They want to actually build and structure better their personal life with automation, right? And I've been building, I know it's a Web 2 tooling, but around N8, for example, I've been building around 600 different workflow types. And so I kind of like did so many lessons learned, and I think there is a lot of like things that we can think about. So one frustration that I had always is that in the DevRel space, we're speaking about a lot of different kind of like activations. So we're not sharing the same language. Oh, you want to do this. This is ROI. This has more ROI. This is budget. And a lot of time, we're not actually thinking about how we can structure better our kind of like our stakeholder pitch, right? So in Consensus, for example, there is 700-800 people company, right? There is different stakeholder, people that are not technical. So, and I assume like in your company, when you need to kind of like pitch specific internal activations, you want to kind of have these instruments. That's why I build like two things that is called, one is the DevRel pyramid and the other is builder funnel. And then I actually thought about how we are changing this to actually like adopt around the agentic economy, because we need to start building for agents too, right? Docs, for example. Docs are consumable for humans right now, but I will say that 30% of scraped docs today are also like done by LLM. So we need to actually like think about this structure. One example that I brought up was Snaps. I don't know how many of you guys know about Snaps. We've been building this for a long time. It's all about permissionless innovation. Different type of Snaps are able, right? So from non-EVM compatible Snap to kind of notification MPC Snaps. So there is a lot of like different things that you can actually play. But Snaps as a product were extremely successful, but a specific product cannot be successful without driving a sustainable and resilient community. Snaps was all about enabling developers in the ecosystem to actually build a fully permissionless stack. So basically, that's why kind of like brought me to think about why Snap was so successful, why people cannot reproduce this permissionless innovation stack, and if they have a product, how they can be successful in pushing this and advocate to the right way to developers. So I actually thought about what are actually the true builder needs in the ecosystem. And I thought about, okay, we need to have standardized activation. We need to think about kind of common names that we can actually like say, okay, this is something that we can speak together with and with different companies. And then we need to also think about where actually AI will impact this work stream. So I take something called the Maslow hierarchy of needs, and I kind of like reproduce something called Francesco hierarchy of builder needs. So what actually like in terms of leveling, people and developers in the ecosystem needs in order to be successful. And I kind of like created this like leveling up. So in order to one person going up, you need to actually start, for example, having access to resources. A lot of people are doing hackathons without having actually their docs on place. A lot of people do a lot of like different things without have any presence. And then basically like you can basically like skip up and come up, right? Ecosystem builder meetups is something that I'm super caring about because I saw about, especially in Web3, we're shielding extremely to the phase 2 developer every day. And we're not actually thinking about building a safe space first. And this is all about the second one. And then you can actually go more local, targeting specific kind of like workflow when you have your kind of like funneling on board. But I think the first main lesson to learn on this pyramid is be present and trying to actually have your access to resources, your basic education need to be on place, and you need to kind of like cover this evergreen funnel where people are coming from IRL and non-IRL. So I would never recommend someone to do IRL hackathon or coming to ECC without actually having your online developer funnel actually on place. You know how it's converting, how it's going. So that's one thing, and I built also like a paper. I will share it a little bit around. But one thing that I want to share is that it's important to understand also like what type of like developers you're actually like dealing with, and which stage are those developers in, right? And these are kind of like some of those lessons learned that I think like you need to understand boundaries, you need to understand trade-offs, you need to also understand how flexible is your tech stack and what you can pitch and you cannot pitch. But my fourth point, let's use a pointer, but is really understanding where the funnel. And then I'm asking myself, okay, everybody's like thinking about, more beginner versus like advanced developer. This is where I want to kind of target the developer in this journey. And there was a lot of like debates, a lot of kind of like different type of people speaking about funneling. And then I thought to myself, okay, let's actually create a pure funneling like a developer funneling framework. And I came out with this couple of like months later. And one thing I kind of discovered here, and it helped a lot of kind of also like DevRel in the space, is to kind of like start with a full kind of like no-shield initiative. You know, if you want to speak about specific like ZK-VM, start to speak about how is the landscape of ZK-VM, what are actually like ZK-VM, what are the types, what are the trade-offs, how actually like who is building what type. And then you can actually go around the product-specific conversion. And I tell you already, independently to which company, 90% of your activation that you probably are doing right now are all about the product-specific conversion. And this is why a lot of kind of like developers are like, hey, why you shield me the product? I don't even know you. You're not building a safe space. And I see I have like 4 minutes left, so I will bring a little bit like things faster. So there is a lot of like different things. This is probably one of the funnel that helped most of people. And now we are kind of like on the third part, and why I think like kind of like the specific kind of like agentic economies is changing the game, because there are different parts of this pyramid and of this funnel that has been kind of like changed, especially in the DevRel work. And then I break down what actually human wants and what agent wants, right? So we want tutorial, we want dev support, we want vibes and feedback, we want to have build like a safe space. Agents want totally different. They want to actually have structured docs with structured kind of like API schema. They want to have like specific RPC they can actually connect. They will never go through dashboard with login and password. So digestion is very important. I also ask myself, okay, which are the parts where kind of like those workflow has been impacted? And this is basically, I started to build like a third framework that we share here with what are those work streams that has been impacted? And I kind of like divided this in six sections. And I want to build, like, I want to kind of like show you what's the most important part and why this framework is because first we need to automatize what we're doing. A bunch of kind of like DevRels right now doing manual work, and actually like is not just not needed, but is also a very repetitive work that you can automate. And this is basically, the third things that I was working after like 2 months. Basically, I took all these 6 work streams and asked myself, okay, how we can actually like go into the agent native kind of like economy. You will never get there 100%, right? So we need to kind of transition. There is no way that you will start using social agents for commenting some random developer question. You want to start with kind of like a focused approach. So what I kind of like progressed here was like basically what we're doing around human-led to AI-assisted to AI to agent native. For example, on hackathon coordination, I don't know, like we started, and this was an extreme test, like 6 months ago, we did a full hackathon that was all built by agents. It was like scored by agents, DD by agents first, and even like judging prizes were discovered and distributed by agents. One thing I'm also like super passionate about is all the content. So we start actually like dealing with different formats. You need the source of truth of content, and then you can actually like distribute. You can actually build these different kind of like formats, and it was super interesting. And also like on the developer education, if you run and check like the both MetaMask and Linear Docs, for example, this AI search is not just a keyword search. It's a full dedicated AI agent that's helping you looking at search. I see I have 1 minute. I don't know if you're having any question, but I just want to say the pyramid will help you on what are we doing. The funnel will help you where is the users and what you're targeting. And this kind of like grid, he help you what can you automate in your economy, what you can automate in your company. So will AI take our job? I want to finish up with they don't appear to want to take over, they just want to dance. So thank you so much, guys. I don't know if we have questions. Maybe one question.
Yeah, one question. Anyone?
We have here. Oh, there. Who is this guy? I don't know who is this guy.
Great presentation. Thank you, Francesco. I guess kind of touching on it, and obviously I know you're so well-versed in DevRel, how do you deal with this concept of get dust post-hackathons? Generally, people enter hackathons, they look for bounties, they've got 48, 72 hours, they crank something out, they receive some stable, and then that project is generally never touched again. So when it comes to observing curiosity and then focusing on retention, how do you approach this?
Yeah, I think like a lot of companies are basically doing either on top of the funnel or nothing lower the funnel. So for example, what we were doing was trying to kind of like build a full cycle post-hackathon that you can actually first engage, but also like advocate for what you build. Because the problem is incentive are less, but also it's because people are not getting a full kind of like stage to present what they build. And then they lose focus. Not just because the team is not maybe cohesive, but also because there is not enough like incentive post. So what we start doing is that inviting hackathon winners to like a major MetaMask community call, 10,000 people, they could present what they build, and then connecting them with specific kind of like accelerator programs. But I think most important is that stuff like, for example, like Builder Nights, we're inviting all the hackathon winners every time, also like on stage to present what they build. This kind of like camaraderism and building also like through cost and kind of like expanding their network, I think is super important. Because it's also like our fault that the support is not there enough. That's why people are also like loose and they just go to like a hackathon marathon and farming bounties. Okay, I think we don't have time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.